Welcome! It is a cold December night. It is hump night. That is Wednesday night, December 17th, 2008. And this is Lundon Calling, the talk show you've been waiting for. The internet talk show that could get you high. Yeah, you could become a podhead. Ha! My name is Ace Lundon. Welcome, all you wild and wonderful weirdos out there in Podland. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. The pre- and post-show music is provided by Sonic Eccles, and more information is provided on our website about Sonic. I'm supposed to also warn you in advance every show that if you have virgin ears, don't listen. Folks tell me I have a potty mouth, and I do. And my co-host, yes, Lance Helms, he likes to tinkle the ice, or what do they call it, tipple just a little bit, you know. Lance, are you with me?
I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes, well, here, I'll clink my glass to you. There.
Okay, perfect.
Folks, as Aristotle said, and he says it every show, it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. And so I say to you listening today, you do not have to accept anything we say as the gospel truth or whatever you want to call it. You only have to entertain the thoughts. That's all. Think. And you see, I can say this because I am trusting that each of you has a brain between those two wonderful ears of yours. Yes. Well, Lance, since we have decided to not do shows on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, do you know this is the final show of 2008?
Oh, perish the thought.
Yes, the year is really up for us. Can you believe it? Man, how fast it went by. Well, we did take a big daring step when we began the show, because we begun it in the days of the recession. Oh, Lord, help us. But we had faith, and faith is not just a religious thing in life, you know. We have faith that the show would be something that we might be able to provide listeners a bit of enjoyment and things like that, and a bit of learning. Anyone has to have faith in stepping into any new area of life. And for those of you who over this past year have had to step into some new areas in your life, you have had to have faith. And I guess I can best describe faith as this way. You all have it. I have it, you have it, everybody has faith, whether we like to believe we do or not. And if I tell you to sit down on the chair and you sat down without even questioning me, you had faith. You had faith that that silly chair would hold you up. And that's what I call faith. It's the simplest description of faith that I could give you. So if you just sat down, or whatever you're doing, you have faith. Because that's what it is. And I think you, Lance, and our webmaster, Mike, and I have to say that we believe and have faith that folks were going to listen and enjoy the shows and then put a little donation in the offering plate to let us know they want the show to continue. So, folks, we do have faith in you, too. I call this faith in our listeners. So we shall now begin to actively put our faith to feet. And as the new year starts, we are going to openly seek sponsors for the show and its continued growth. As you know, we don't have phone call-ins. We have email write-ins with questions and comments.
Absolutely correct.
And that email write-in address is
Lundon.calling@gmail.com. And of course, Lundon is spelled with a U, so it's LUNDON.calling@gmail.com.
Okay. And so, folks, if you know any potential sponsors, turn them on to us. and have them contact us. They can email us at london.calling, what did I say? London.calling?
What I just said.
at gmail.com. Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Have them contact us. Now, I'm kind of funny about sponsors. I have to like the sponsor and want to be able to use the product and be able to tell in honesty that it is a good product. For instance, if Lava Soap wanted to sponsor the show, I couldn't do that because I don't like Lava Soap. And our sponsors, we don't really have like in regular AM, FM radio where we can push a little button and have a already taped sponsor ad come on.
Yeah, that's for pussies anyway. We're big boys.
Our sponsors will hear from our lips that we believe in them, and we will urge the listeners to also believe in them. That's right. So that's going to be the way it is. I know that I'd like to see us have call-ins. I'd love to get a telephone company that I believed in to be able to be one of our sponsors so they could supply an 800 number so people could call in. You know, there are a lot of things like that. We're growing, actually more rapidly than I had first imagined. I can't believe that we've had a few thousand hits already. That's
on our website, yes.
That's kind of astonishing, I think. You know,
that's just a lot of people who were lost on the internet.
Probably, and they just ran across us, yeah. Either that or it's all of these wonderful friends that we've been mentioning over the past 4 shows or so that they're tuning in and they're telling other friends to tune in or check it out, etc. And that's kind of the way we grow because we can't afford advertising, really. By the way, there is a really wonderful article on the show in I think it's the December issue or January-December issue of Diversity Rules. It's a magazine in upstate New York, in Oneonta, New York. James Curry is the editor there. The magazine has a 10,000 print run circulation. And so, folks, if you're in the upstate New York area and you want to read a very, very good gay, lesbian, I call it a queer magazine, this is it, Diversity Rules. Really, he does a tremendous job there.
It's the January-February issue.
Is that it coming up? Yeah.
Yes. And they devoted an entire page to us.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
It's wonderful. They show you smoking a doobie and me drinking a beer. It's perfect.
Bad.
Or is it you drinking a doobie and me smoking a beer? I can't remember.
I don't know. It's one of the two. But we're going to have to put that diversityrules.com or something onto our website so that folks can check out the magazine and such. I'm sure our Spider-Man Mike will be able to do that. Yes. But I don't know what the address is. But you'll find
Ace, you have to explain to people who Mike is. Have you mentioned him yet?
Yes, he's our Spider-Man, our webmaster.
He's webmaster, our producer, or as I like to call him, our web sprite.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He's a sprite, all right. Uh-huh. Oh, Lordy, we have closed out the year and the most spectacular election year in my memory, maybe. And in tribute, I share this with you now. An old country preacher had a teenage son, and it was getting that time when the boy should give some thought to choosing a profession. Like many young men, the boy didn't really know what he wanted to do, and he didn't seem to be concerned about it. And one day, while the boy was away to school, his father, the preacher, decided to try an experiment. He went into the boy's room and placed on his study table 4 objects. He put a Bible there, a silver dollar, a bottle of whiskey, and a Playboy magazine. And the old preacher said to himself, I'll just hide behind the door, and when he comes home from school this afternoon, I'll see which object he picks up. If it's the Bible, he's going to be a preacher like me, and what a blessing that would be. If he picks up the dollar, he's going to be a businessman, and that'd be okay too. But if he picks up the bottle, he's going to be a no-good drunkard, and Lord, what a shame that would be. And worst of all, if he picks up that Playboy magazine, he's going to be a skirt-chasing bum. And the old man waited anxiously and soon heard his son's footsteps as he entered the house, whistling and headed for his room. The boy tossed his books on the bed, and as he turned to leave the room, he spotted the objects on the table. With a bit of curiosity in his eye, he walked over to inspect them. Finally, he picked up the Bible and placed it under his arm. He picked up the silver dollar and dropped it into his pocket. He uncorked the bottle and took a big swig while he admired the month's centerfold. And the old preacher said, Oh, Lord have mercy, he's going to run for Congress.
That's great. What better lead to something we've talked about doing, and I can't think of a better time to do it than the last show of the year. You know, we're on the internet, we're podcasting, and you know what that means, Ace? No
Yes.
pesky FCC telling us what words we can't say. We can really say whatever we want on the show. You know what I'm thinking of, don't you?
Yes, George Carlin.
7 dirty words, baby.
Uh-huh.
Did you now? Okay, most people probably know what the 7 dirty words are, and we'll definitely get to those.
I don't know because I don't have any dirty words in my vocabulary.
No, they're just all words.
I just use everything.
That's right. Well, but enough about your body, Ace. We're still talking about words. We'll get to that other part. Now, did you know that there are 3 auxiliary words?
No.
I got this in a Wikipedia. If you Google George Carlin and the 7 dirty words, you get a Wikipedia article. Well, let's do the 7 dirties first, and then I'll put you on the bus and take you to school with the 3 auxiliary words.
One by one, slowly, because I want to digest these words. Okay.
Oh, but let's make it fun. How about you guess what they are?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yes, you do. Oh, don't try to be a lady at this late day. You know what they are.
I don't have dirty words in my vocabulary, Lance. I tell you that. I use
Ace?
all words.
Well, put yourself in the mind of just pretend you're someone else for a moment.
Okay, penis. Couldn't
It's
say
not
that.
Not one of the 7 dirty words. It's a clinical term. Try again. You're on the right track, though.
Vagina.
But what's a dirtier way to say vagina?
Oh, dear. Cunt.
There you go. The ice is broken. We're not being coy anymore. All right.
Oh.
Think of... You got 1 down, 6 to go.
You've got me.
Bodily functions, Ace. Bodily functions.
Kiss or fart.
Oh, good. Okay, piss is one of the 7. And guess what?
For heaven's sakes, that's a dirty
Fart.
word.
Oh, but well, we're talking words you can't say on television circa 1977. Fart is one of the 3 auxiliary words.
Ah.
All right, so give us another bodily function.
Shit.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Okay.
How about masturbation?
Base, that's not a dirty word. It's a word your doctor would say to you. It's clinical.
Yeah. I couldn't say it on the air.
Well, let's go back to body parts. Let's talk about lady parts.
Tits.
Perfect. That's another one of the 7. So you've got
You're
4.
kidding.
You got 3 to go. Isn't this fun? It's like wheel o obscenity. I just love it.
I mean, women got them.
I'd like to buy a shit. Thanks. What?
Yeah. Gosh, women got them and men got them, and we couldn't say tits. That's crazy.
All right, so let me give you another clue. This word it can be a noun, a verb. It is a physical act that's performed between 2 people. It's 4 letters.
The F word. The F word.
Come on, this is internet radio. It's
oh,
called fuck.
Fuck, I can't think of it.
Oh, what the fuck, Ace?
Yes.
All right. Now, from that word, we get another one of the 7 dirty words. This is a real kind of old school 70s word in my book. I don't even know if people say this word anymore.
You got me. I don't know what it is.
It's a 4-syllable word that includes the word fuck.
I have no idea.
Motherfucker.
Oh, motherfucker. Oh.
Now, there's another word that kind of sounds like that. Gosh, how can I clue you in on this one? Well, it'd be a not so nice way of saying gay person by describing something that maybe they do in the sack.
A butt fucker?
Oh, you're so close. Okay, same number of syllables, same sort of rhyme scheme on the last 2 syllables, but the first 4 letters are kind of a dirty way of talking about a male body part.
You got me.
Cocksucker. Hello?
Cocksucker. Oh.
Get your nose out of the Bible and into the gutter.
But that's such a common word and you can't say it.
Well, here's the thing, and we've talked about this a little bit before. Of all these words, you know, at this point, we're all pretty desensitized to them. I think the cutest word is tits. I just love it that was like a big no-no on TV.
Yeah.
But I think of all these words, the one word that is still really persona non grata is the C word. You can say shit, piss, fuck, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. But you say cunt in the wrong company, and you got some angry people on your hands.
You're going to get hit with a purse real fast, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was taught...
You know...
What?
In our just everyday conversation, we use all of these words. People do, except those.
I don't use the C word ever.
No, I really don't either. There are some things.
However, I do refer to it. Do you know how I refer to it?
What, the secret place?
You're. Oh God, no, nothing quite so Catholic nun.
Okay.
My pocketbook.
Oh,
my late parts, my Christian area. Oh God, no. But I was schooled in this by a very good friend. One simply says, as Miss Manners would say, one simply says, "See you next Tuesday." Well, she's just a see you next Tuesday, isn't she? And for some reason, almost no one will object to you saying that, but you turn around and you say cunt, and you got that pocketbook upside your head.
Yep. Oh, Lord.
See you next Tuesday, Ace.
Oh, dear.
Here's another weird one. How come bitch isn't on this list? You mean to tell me the FCC in 1978 or whenever he first started talking about this list made the naive assumption that if you said bitch on TV, you were talking about female dogs?
No, you weren't. But that is interesting, yeah.
Isn't it? Okay. So now there are the 3 auxiliary words. We stumbled on one of them, fart. The other 2, one is completely innocuous in my book. The other is, whatever. I'm just going to tell you what they are.
Okay.
You tell me if these were ever on your radar. So we had fart. The next 2 are turd and twat.
Oh, please.
Right? Can you hear me over here snoring?
I can, yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Turd and twat. Twat, I can see maybe not being too cool on television, but turd?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
I know that on
that
regular...
was the educational Sesame Street portion of our show.
On regular radio, I wasn't allowed to say I had to go out to the chicken house to clean up the chicken shit. I couldn't say that. And I couldn't say I had to clean up the cow shit in the barns. I couldn't say that on radio. But I thought, oh my God, I could hear my dad saying, "Hey kid, please go out and clean up the cow poop." Please, what farmer would ever say that? You know?
No. Horse apples.
Yeah.
Cow shit.
Yeah,
Chicken
exactly.
You chicken shit, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. That's the way people talk, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm anxious to read a book that Carrie Fisher is just putting out now called Wishful Drinking. Because Carrie is she's such a brilliant woman, I tell you. I never have met her, but
oh my God, Ace! There's a Hollywood A, B, or C lister you actually haven't met.
No, I met her mother.
Oh, see, now that's my old school gay right there. She's the one you want to know.
I remember when Debbie was in her early days in show business, she had become Miss Burbank or something or other, and she was a gospel artist and singer back then. Yes, she was. We were both involved in the gospel thing, and she was working with what was his name? Ted and Gloria Rowe. Ted Rowe and Gloria Rowe. They were evangelists, and Debbie Reynolds was their third party. And anyway, Debbie strayed off and went into regular show business. Ted and Gloria, I guess, are still entertaining if they're still alive. I mean, not entertaining; they're evangelizing, you know. But yeah, no, I love Debbie. Oh man, she's going to be coming to Laughlin. She comes down here for shows quite a bit.
Oh, fun!
Mm-hmm. And I see that Madonna is coming down here too. So we ought to get Laughlin as a sponsor for one of our shows and such.
I'm seriously jealous.
They got good. The Eagles are coming. Oh, I would love to be able to see them. Love them. But anyway,
okay. Here's an excerpt from a Carrie Fisher interview dated today on the Today Show. I'll just read you a paragraph from this is third paragraph down on the MSNBC website. Among her revelations, if she'd known Star Wars was going to be such a giga hit, she would never have signed on for the role of Princess Leia. She's a bipolar disorder sufferer who found relief in electroconvulsive therapy, and when she started doing LSD and other drugs, her parents got Cary Grant to counsel her to stop doing it. Now, if that's not a gay icon in the making, I don't know who is.
Well, Carrie was gay. What are you talking about?
Hello. No, I'm talking about Carrie Fisher, sweetie.
Oh.
Follow the bouncing ball. Keep up.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Eddie, I never met her dad. He's still alive and kicking, and I think he's doing shows and such. Mm-hmm. But, fame is a strange thing. You can be terribly famous, and then it just drifts away into nothing. And we all realize how 100 years from now, people aren't going to remember us or anything anyway. So that's why I've always said you just got to live each day like it is your last day, and live it to the best that you can possibly do. Try to do the most positive things you can in life, and just keep on keeping on. And remember that you're only as sick as your secrets. So, folks, if you got secrets, get rid of those frickin' secrets, and you won't be sick anymore. I live such an easy life because I have no more secrets in life. There's nothing left in my closet, so to speak.
Well, except for shoes, pocketbooks, and dresses.
my fishnet stockings, yes. And those damn high heels. Oh, God.
Okay, I have to read you just one more excerpt from this interview because it's fabulous. So, Carrie Fisher had one marriage to singer Paul Simon. After they divorced, she had a relationship with agent Brian Lord, by whom she had a daughter in 1992. But then Lord left her not for another woman, but for another man. Well, for a man, another man. Stupid. Next paragraph. For solace, and you can just picture Debbie Reynolds in this, you can picture the scene. For solace, Fisher turned to her mother, who cheered her up by saying, "We have all sorts of men in our family. We have horse thieves. We have one-man bands. This is our first homosexual."
I can hear Debbie say that. Yeah. Debbie, by the way, is certainly a LGBT ally.
Hello. Look
She
at the Star
really
Trek on Will and Grace. She's my homegirl.
Yeah, she's a wonderful, wonderful lady, I tell you. And she's gone through hell and back in her life, and she's come out on top because she believes in that old thing that a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. Mm-hmm. And I think we could all take a good lesson from Debbie Reynolds in that area. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Since this is the very last show.
And it's a week before Christmas.
And it's a week before Christmas, yes. We'll do a little bit of something there, too. But I think we're going to talk about, let's take maturation. Not masturbation, maturation. It usually comes with old age, isn't that true?
Or it's pretty much what my 401k is not doing.
It's not maturing. Okay.
It's regressing.
Well, I tell you, there are many adults. There are many adults that I have met throughout my lifetime who are definitely adults, but who are definitely not mature. And there are many young people. I call them old souls, like my Patrick. He was young, but he was an old soul. He had matured way beyond his years. You don't meet a lot of them, but they're out there. So I figure as we close out the year of the show, let's try to help ourselves help ourselves. And I'm going to read you Kipling's poem. Actually, I have it memorized because it's one of those poems that I tell everyone to memorize. And it's a good way to close out the year and to start out the new year. It deals with maturation, becoming mature, becoming a woman, becoming a man in the true sense of the word, not a child in an adult body. And Kipling, and we'll talk about it after I read the whole poem through. Kipling said, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and then stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. This is one of Kipling's greatest pieces of poetry, I think. And let's talk about it, Lance. Let's talk about if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Have you ever been in that situation?
Of course.
Like what? At work? At home?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot.
Yes, you're on the spot.
I can't think of an example. I don't know that I've been challenged probably to the degree that he's referencing.
Haven't you ever had something happen to you, say on the job or something, and they say, oh, then behind your back, they're blaming it all on you, you know, and yet you keep your head? Or do you fly off the handle and say, you know, go crazy? Well,
I have to say that the older I get, the slower I'm slowing down. I'm mellowing. So,
hey,
yeah.
you
Less
are
likely to be crazy.
You are what might be called maturing, yes.
Here.
Okay, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. Have you ever started out doing something and everyone has told you, oh, please, you can't do that, you know? It's impossible.
I'll be honest with you, Ace.
I hope so.
I've gotten some interesting reactions to the notion of me doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I had a friend today, in fact. Actually, what he texted me about was, OG, I have an extra ticket to the Neil Diamond's performing tonight or has performed at this point in Atlanta. And he texted me and I said, oh, sorry, I can't go. I have my podcast. And he texts back and he goes, what's a podcast? I said, I'm feeling relevant.
Yes.
So I said, well, it's, you know, like a radio show, except it's on the internet and you can download it. And he said, great. What are you doing tomorrow night?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think this podcast is a great example. I mean, you and I have charged ahead and done something that we believe in, and we'll just wait for the world to catch up. Yeah.
And yet we've listened to all of their doubting and saying, I don't think you can do it. I even sometimes listen to that little voice that sits on my shoulder and says, oh, you can't do that, you know. We have to
still have that voice after all the things that you've done.
Yes, yes. That voice never goes away, no matter how old we get.
You can't tell me these things. You have to lie to me and say, Lance, the day comes when you just don't even have that anymore. Of course, I guess that would be conscience, and you don't want to lose that.
No, exactly. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, wow. Patience is a virtue desired by all and acquired by few. Patience. Wait, 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 and not be tired by waiting. Ah, yes, we're all there, aren't we? Yep, this is part of life. We wait. We spend a lot of time waiting. I've heard people say that we spend 1/3 of our life working, 1/3 of our life sleeping, and 1/3 of our life waiting. So waiting is a big thing.
Waiting is what we're doing while we're at home watching must-see TV?
Maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're waiting.
I have a contribution on waiting. I want to read you some statistics about people who can't wait. Okay?
Okay.
Tell me if you've heard of these websites. Membership statistics. Manhunt.net, 1.6 million and growing.
What is Manhunt?
Oh, see, you're such an innocent. Oh, Ace, where have you been?
I don't know. I've been right here in Bullhead City.
Well, let me read you a couple more websites, and you tell me if you're familiar with these. Some of them I know you are. Gay.com has 8.8 million profiles and growing.
Yeah, I'm one of.
Okay.
I checked into that one because I'm gay. Yeah.
Here's the thing to frame for you what Manhunt is. Manhunt is what would happen if you took the chat portion of Gay.com, broke it off, turned it into a separate website, and oh, by the way, it was 99.44% shots of people's body parts. And they were on to meet each other and do whatever.
Oh, well, that's why I'm not on Manhunt then. Mm-hmm.
Amen, brother. Okay, by comparison, MySpace, 117 million, 0.6 users. Facebook, 132 million. Facebook was the upstart. It has now eclipsed MySpace. But let's go back to Manhunt and Gay.com. Talk about impatience. Here's what's going on Manhunt. I need something to happen now. That's what's going on.
It just means they're horny and their hormones are going crazy, and so they figure they got to have somebody to help them out.
What? Hormones going crazy? Really? What is that the excuse for a 40 or 50-year-old who's on Manhunt? Your hormones?
Hey, a 40 or 50-year-old has hormones.
That they must be in. Well, yeah. But
And they haven't matured. They haven't matured enough yet with their hormones, so they can keep their pants zipped up. It's like what's going on with toe tapping. What's his face up in Idaho with
just got spanked by that court. Did you see that?
No.
The what is it? The Minnesota. What state is it? The Minnesota Court of Appeals or whatever it is. Whatever.
Oh yeah, I heard they refused.
They gave him a smackdown and said, "No, you're guilty."
yeah. I mean,
thanks for playing. Your consolation prizes and your Lundon Calling bless your heart shout out are waiting for you in the back.
I think it takes the male animal of the human species longer to mature than it does the female animal in the human species. And I think it's probably due to our crazy hormonal situation. We haven't matured enough to the point where we are willing to wait. I want a blowjob and I want it now. Okay, so big deal, Well,
let's talk about, let me give you another statistic. First male sex partners, and by the way, this is from an article in Genre magazine, the October-November issue. I think we ought to issue a Lundon Calling Bless Their Heart to Genre, too. They're looking a little light these days, a little light on the advertising. We'll see if they stick around. First male sex partners found online was noted in 2.3% of Britain's gay men in 1992. Well, God bless them. In 1992, what was the internet at that point? So 2.3% of Britain's gay men reported back then that they found their first male sex partners online. Want to guess what the statistic was in 2003?
What?
5 years ago at this point, 61.2%.
They found their first partner?
First male sex partner online.
Online?
Now, online. First male sex partner, sweetie darling. First male sex partner. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If I'm going to find a sex partner, I'd like to see them face to face before I find somebody on the line and say, how about coming over to my bedroom? No.
Now, Bob, but before you get on your jump to conclusions, Matt, they're not saying that these people had sex on their first meeting. They're just saying that they found their first male sex partner online. They could have ended up meeting.
Okay, so it's like what do you call those? We used to write letters to people in Europe and things like that. Pen pals.
Pen pals, exactly.
Pen pals, yeah, and you got a chance to meet them and know them, et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
Well, that's certainly a charitable way of looking at this, but I don't think that's what's going on in this instance.
I don't either.
Okay, well, let's go from that to our favorite subject, porn. Let's see here. U.S. porn revenue was estimated at $10 million in 1970. Want to guess what the estimate was? Well, or the actual number was in 2005? I guess it would have to be an estimate. I don't imagine they have systematic reporting.
I don't think so. Well, it's got to be in the billions.
Very good. $12.6 billion.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well,
okay. Well, where's all this leading us? All of this anonymous connections and gotta have it now. I have two more statistics for you. HIV and AIDS infection rates, we all know they are increasing, unfortunately, among gay men. Between 2001 and 2005, cases of HIV infection in the United States rose 13%. Here's where I'm going with all of this. Researchers note that prevention programs are difficult to translate to the net, while visibility at bars and clubs was easy. Yes, indeed. So the internet has made it easier for us to get that instant gratification, but it's made it harder for us to be reached with good, solid prevention messages, sexual health messages.
That makes sense.
There is a syphilis epidemic in the gay community. The rate of infection increased by 12% in 2007, marking the 7th consecutive year of increases for syphilis. In this article, they say, now this is startling since the disease was nearly wiped out a decade ago. Gay men carry about 60% of the current infections.
Have you ever had syphilis?
Not to my knowledge. And what I will say in conclusion is,
I think you'd know it.
Those who might be listening to us while surfing manhunt.net, close the browser window. When this show is over, get up out of your chair, go out and meet a real live person.
Yes.
Friends ask me all the time. Well, not all the time, but I get this a lot because I'm sort of a volunteer type. And I'm sure, Ace, this has happened to you too, where you have friends who say, I'm not meeting any quality people. I'm on Match.com or blah, 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 and whatever. And, and then, in a different breath, they'll say, I've been looking for ways to get involved. I'd really like to do more. I'd like to give back to the community. You're really involved. What do you do? And I'm like, well, hello. How about we put these two things together? You know how I meet most of the people that I meet socially, and sometimes it turns into dating. I get my ass out and I volunteer for shit. I don't care if it's gay activism or cleaning cat cages at the local humane society or building houses for Habitat for Humanity or whatever. But here's the guarantee. Here's the guarantee. What?
You're not allowing yourself to be tired by waiting.
No, it's one way of looking at it.
Exactly.
But here's my point. I suppose one way to meet like-minded people who are sort of in the same, if you're looking to match like with like, if that's your thing, looking to meet people with about the same outlook as you, well, certainly one way to do it is, you go to church, you meet a nice girl in church, or in our case, you meet a nice boy.
Yes.
But here's the secular version of that. Go out and declare an interest and do something that is in keeping with that interest to make the world a better place. And guess what's going to happen? You are going to meet people of like mind. Those are the people that you are the most likely to have shared interests with. And who knows? You might get laid in the process. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying.
Like I enjoy being with people from the artists community because they're a very special group, the artists group. Mm-hmm. So I try to become involved with, say, like the Artists Guild here and with any of the theatrical productions. Like we've got one coming up now, a production of It's a Wonderful Life. That'll be at the auditorium here in the high school. And you meet some tremendously wonderful people at these type of functions.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You even meet a few hotties once in a while. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Ace, we have the internet to blame for the fact that you and I even have this show.
Yeah.
We began our communication and our friendship via the internet. Then we took it, to the phone, which is natural.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the internet that's enabling us to do this show. It's the internet that's probably allowing us to expand the show beyond our circle of friends. But it definitely needs to have its place, and there are things that it should not supplant.
Yep. Well, I tell you, I've been thinking about all of the 12, 14-year-old girls that are posing nude and putting their pictures on the internet, and young boys in that same age bracket nude on the internet. Somewhere along the line, that type of thing is going to catch up with these kids, and I don't know what the internet can do to stop it, but it just is something that we've got to use our brains with and say, hey, we've got to do something,
It's going to come full circle.
Oh, yeah, everything does. Everything goes in a circle.
Although I have to say, we have the internet to thank for the fact that you can go online and find photos talking about people in their younger days making some mistakes and showing their bodies, and maybe they live to regret it. Remember when you and I were on the phone the other night, and I was surfing around and looking at Sal Mineo pictures, and I found photos of Don Johnson naked on stage in that play. Oh my goodness!
Well, wasn't it hair that was or not hair?
There was nudity in hair.
It was. I can't remember. I saw it, but I can't.
My father told me about it. He told me about seeing the play and having naked people. I think in this production they actually ran off stage and kind of ran through the audience, kind of streaking.
Yeah, because I did see the show in its stage production, but like I say, it's been a while back, and there are a lot of stage shows where nudity is part of it, which doesn't bother me that nudity.
Look at the big one now, Equus, with what's his name from Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter.
Yeah, But that's not even porn. That's just nudity.
It's part of the story.
Yeah.
So from the files of OG, how did Lance get so warped at such an early age? Here's an item. By the time I was probably 7 or 8 years old, I knew every single word to all of the songs in the musical Hair.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Do you remember what some of those songs are about?
No, I don't.
I had to sing songs about things I didn't even understand.
Yeah. Nowadays, I think kids do know about them, but I don't know that they really understand.
For its time, it's a really, really fun bunch of songs. Really fun, creative bunch of songs. Questioned a lot of interesting things.
Okay, let's go on to the next line in Rudyard Kipling's If.
And I'm just gonna warn you, we're 4 minutes away from being done with our second hour-long show.
No, we're not. No.
13 minutes.
Yeah, 13.
I meant to say 4 plus 9.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Boy, talk about lies from adult mouths. Ay. That's not maturity. Kids lie. Children lie. But adults, we should not be lying. If we are continuing to lie to others, then we are not mature. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. I hate that bitch. You've heard it over and over again. I hear it every day if I happen to go out at all into the world, and you're listening to people just talking. They're talking about a neighbor, a co-worker or something, and how they hate them. They're giving way to hating.
Well, hate is a strong word, too. Do they really mean that when they say, I hate her?
I think they do. I think they mean it. I think the wife of that governor in Illinois, when she's talking about all of the things that she hates and the people that she hates, etc., she hates, and she calls herself an adult, If you can dream and not make dreams your master, whoa. That's been a roughie for me because I'm a dreamer. Yeah.
Is that a reference to porn?
No, not porn at all. Just, just creation of things, and you can become so involved in things that you'd like to create that they become your master almost. Or if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, like the educated fools, you know. They can't get down to the reality of life. They spend their thoughts in such an ethereal realm. And
you know what Cosby said? He said an intellectual is someone who has to go to school to learn what the rest of us already know.
Yeah. Here's probably the most important line in the poem. If you can meet with triumph and disaster, success and failure, and treat those two imposters just the same. So many times in life, we say, we think we've failed, you know, and so we treat that situation as a failure without realizing that it really is an imposter. Likewise, we have a big success or something, and we get the big old ego head, etc. It's an imposter. To be able to go through life and treat failures and successes, triumphs and disasters, for what they really are, just imposters. That is probably one of the biggest steps toward becoming mature, or in maturation that you can go. Or if you can bear to hear the truths you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. Oh, how many times in life haven't I said something and somebody else took what I said and used it as a trap for someone else, you know? That's the way it goes. You got to think about it. Or watch the things that you gave your life to broken, and then you have to stoop and build them up with worn out tools. Oh, I see our clock is actually striking at the wrong hour. It's really off tonight. Anyway, we're on the 7 to 8 Pacific Coast time, but who knows what it struck. How many times in life haven't you tried to do something and then it just all fell apart? And just, you had to still keep it going, but you didn't have anything to keep it going with. So you had to stoop and build it back up with worn out tools, you know? Wow. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and then risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and then start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. Sort of like the old thing in the scriptures where it says, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, you know?
That's right.
We have winnings in life. And we take those winnings sometime and say, okay, I'm going to invest in something. And then you lose. But what do? Do you complain and gripe and everything? Or do you not breathe a word about your loss and you just keep going? You force your heart and nerve and your sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and you so hold on when there's not a thing left in you except the will, which says, hold on. So folks, don't give up. If you're in that boat at the moment, you're at the end of the year, got a new one coming. Hey, don't give up. Hold on. It's part of what being mature is. Maturity is holding on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue. I've been called a professor. It's not one of my favorite things to be called, a brainiac, etc. And people like myself, sometimes it's very difficult to talk with people of the so-called menial class. the ones that don't have any education and things like that.
Now, Ace, don't talk about me like I'm not here.
Yes, you are here, I know. But if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, that's a step in maturation. Or walk with kings and still keep the common touch. This was part of what Patrick and I had to go through when we were first together, because my background, I had so many celebrities in my life. And to Patrick, they were something like, whoa, He could hardly talk when he'd meet someone. He didn't want to meet my friends who were celebrities. The way I had to do something to get him out of that. So when we were first together, I decided to invite an old friend of mine who was an actor. He was a star on Route 66, George Maharis. I knew he was gay, and I knew he had a younger lover, like my Patrick was younger than me. And so I told Pat one day, I says, I'm going to invite George Maharis over for supper. And he says, oh, my God, no. He says, he wouldn't want to come to our little place here. He's a star. And I said, Patrick, he's a human being. He's a fine man. And so Patrick had to accept the fact that I was going to invite him over. He said, what are you going to do? You don't like to cook. And I says, no, but I do know how to cook. He says, well, what are you going to make for someone like that? And I said, I'm going to do some southern fried chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, some corn, some good corn, and some homemade biscuits. And he says, oh, he won't like that. And I says, are you kidding? Well, when George came over, Patrick could hardly talk at first. He was just in awe of meeting George Maharis. And we had a great dinner. George actually gorged himself. He ate doubles. And Patrick was so shocked that here was a star. It's like the old saying here, walk with kings and not lose the common touch. George, in his mind, was like a king. And so we became just a part of one another that evening. So, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, you've got foes in life and you've got loving friends in life. And we've got how many more minutes to go?
3.
Wow, okay. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, folks. Maturity. Let's get with it at the end of this year so that we can become more mature as we go into the new year. Edgar Guest said this, and I guess I got enough time for this little thing here. It takes a little courage and a little self-control, some grim determination if you want to reach a goal. It takes a deal of striving and a firm and steadfast chin, no matter what the battle, if you are out to win. There is no easy path to glory, no easy road to fame. Life, however we may view it, is no simple parlor game. But its prizes call for fighting, for endurance and for gut, for a rugged disposition and a don't know when to quit. You must take a blow and give one, you must risk and you must lose, and expect that in the struggle you will suffer a bruise. But you mustn't wince or falter when a fight you must begin. Be a man and face the struggle. That's the only way to win. Thank you, Edgar Guest. And so as we close out the year, Pedro said, it was one of those nights when the romantic full moon was showing, and he says, hey, mamacita, let's do we with you. And she, Rosita said, oh, no, not now. Let's look at the moon. Oh, come on, baby. You and I do we with you. I love you, and it's the perfect time, Pedro begged. But I want to just hold your hand and watch the moon, replied Rosita. And he says, oh, please, corazoncito, just once, do we with you with me. Rosita looked at Pedro and said, okay, one time, We'll do, we would too. So Pedro grabbed his guitar, and they both said, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas
terrible?
and a Happy New Year. And so, folks, we wish you, with you too, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I thank you so much for listening to our show and putting up with our little bit of insanity. And thank you in advance for telling all your friends to tune in and get the podcast shows if you don't hear the live show. And remember, you could really get high off of our shows because you could become a pod head. Lance, I love you. Mike, I love you. I know I'm such a queer fellow, but I love all of you listeners out there also, and you know that. And remember, as you get into this new year, you can't pull a man out of the well if you're in the well with him, so get your skinny or fat little butts out of that well and be able to pull a few others out and help people in this new year. This is the year of change, and we better make it so. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Lance, for being my wonderful co-host, and Mike, my wonderful producer and Spider-Man. Night, folks. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.